Hi, my dear students. In the last class, we have discussed the Rajaputta dynasties that ruled North India during the Middle Ages. We have learned the important rulers of Rajaputta dynasties, their contributions in the field of art, architecture, literature, and painting. After a glorious long period, in the 12th century, the rule of Rajaputta started to decline. The reason for their decline are constant fight against each other for power and glory, lack of unity, and foreign invasions. By knowing the prosperity, vastness, and wealth of our country, many foreign rulers tried to conquer our wonderful land. One among the foreign invaders are Turks from Afghanistan. Dear students, in this session, we will learn the arrival of Turks. Turks belongs to a nomadic tribe of Mongolia, a part of Central Asia. Islam was their religion. In the year 963, Alptagin, who belongs to the nomadic tribe of Mongolia, established his independent state in Ghazni region of Afghanistan. As Afghanistan was not a prosperous land, they turned towards our country. From there onwards, the battles between Turks and Rajput started in our country. In 999, after the death of Alptagin, Muhammad Ghazni ascended the throne. Muhammad Ghazni invaded India 17 times. The famous Somanatha temple and the temples of Saurashtra were destroyed during the invasion of Muhammad Ghazni. Almost all Rajput rulers tried to prevent the invasion of Muhammad Ghazni, but they lost the battle due to the lack of unity among the Rajput rulers. Muhammad Ghazni succeeded in his invasions due to the political and military weakness of Rajput kings. Muhammad Ghazni invaded 17 times and carried away enormous amount of golden ornaments and wealth to Ghazni. Though he did not build empire in India, his invasions showed the way to further Turks' invasions to India. By the invasion of Muhammad Ghazni, many of Rajput rulers become weak and got displaced from the history. Muhammad Ghori. The rule of Ghazni dynasty came to an end after a Turk dynasty of Shahbani of Ghor region of Afghanistan came to prominence. Ghiyasuddin Muhammad Ghor of this dynasty ascended the throne. He sent his younger brother Majuddin Muhammad to establish Turk rule in India. He is called as Muhammad Ghori by the historians. It was Muhammad Ghori who was successful in establishing a secure and powerful Muslim kingdom in India. He was the true founder of the Muslim rule in India. Being a very ambitious ruler, Muhammad Ghori was not satisfied with only Ghazni. Ghori wanted to expand his empire to get a hold of more power and control and wanted to conquer India. Muhammad Ghori was well aware of India's political, social, religious and military weaknesses and also the enormous wealth and the gold that India had. Ghori wanted to attain more power and more wealth. He also had the desire to spread Islam in India. Thus, for all these reasons, Ghori carried out a number of invasions to take over India. Historians say that there were as many as 7 major invasions of Muhammad Ghori against India, in which he was a winner in almost all invasions. His invasions in India were the first conquest of Multan and Sindh. The first invasion of Muhammad Ghori was in 1175 when he was attacked Multan, defeated the ruling king Ismailian heretics and was successful in capturing Multan. There he constructed a fort to help his further invasions. In his second major invasion, that was Anilawada, the capital of Gujarat, in 1178. In 1178, Ghazni invaded Gujarat, but he suffered defeat from Gujarat ruler Bhimdeva at the Battle of Kayadhara. This was his first invasion against a Hindu ruler in India, but he had to go back to his kingdom after this battle. Conquest of Punjab and Lahore. Muhammad Ghazni realized that the main place to conquer in India was not Sindh and Multan, but it was Punjab. In the year 1179, he captured Peshawar. After capturing Peshawar, he turned towards Lahore regions. After a continuous attack on Lahore, about 5 years, Ghori defeated Khosrow Malik and captured Lahore. By keeping Lahore as his center, Muhammad attacked the plains of India. The First Battle of Tarain. In the year 1191, to conquer the whole of India, Khori marched towards Delhi and he captured Srihand regions. It was the Rajput king of Delhi and Ajmer, Prithviraj Chauhan, who put up a brave fight with his soldiers against Khori in Tarain, a place near Karnal in the present Haryana state of India. In this battle of Tarain, Khori was badly injured and defeated. Second Battle of Tarain. In 1192, Muhammad Khori invaded India again. This time, he came with an army of 1,20,000 soldiers. Turks, Afghans and Persians helped Khori in the invasion. In the second battlefield of Tarain, Prithviraj Chauhan could not restrain the strong army of Khori. Muhammad Khori defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. The quicker cavalry of Turks dispersed the Rajput army with slow-moving elephants. Govind Rao and Bhola, who were instrumental in the Rajput victory during the first Tarain battle, were killed. Prithviraj Chauhan was imprisoned. Prithviraj Chauhan continued to rule for a while after his surrender. Muhammad Khori appointed his slaves to take care of the areas won by him in India. In 1206, he got murdered on his way back to Khori. Impact of Turkish conquest on India. Several walks of Indian life were greatly affected by the conquest of Turks. Significant changes took place in the political, social, and economic life of India. The Arab invasion had led to establishment of two independent Muslim kingdoms of Sindh and Multan, but the Turkish invasion led to the establishment of Muslim rule over a large part of North India. Recruitment in the army was no longer the monopoly of one particular class. The Sultan organized their permanent standing armies in place of feudal armies. The Turkish conquest reduced the importance of caste system in India. Turkish society had a firm belief in society that is equal. The trade contacts which had broken in the 8th century with the countries of Asia and Africa were revived towards the close of 12th century. Indian traders started trading on a large scale with Ghazni and China. Several new trading centers like Multan, Lahore, Delhi came to be established. Persian became the language of administration, and in this respect, a new era of cultural development came to begin. The use of Persian as a language of administration greatly helped in bringing about administrative uniformity. The Rajput rulers used different dialects. Political implications. The victory of Kore had many major political implications. The political system consisting of small kingdoms vanished. A centralized rule of sultans who had immense power at Delhi came into existence. As a result, the entire North India came under one rule after Harsha. The system of administration of Turks was totally different from Rajput. The sultans had the absolute power either appointing or dismissing all officials. The military administration was also clearly unlike the previous one. Soldiers were appointed directly by the sultans. Soldiers remained loyal directly to the sultan itself. With the establishment of the rule of sultans, India got reconnected with the outer world, which had remained cut off from 8th century onwards. After the death of Muhammad Ghori in the year 1206, all the places which were conquered by Muhammad Ghori came to the hands of his slaves. The slaves started strengthening their rules in the areas conquered by the Turks. Qutbuddin Aibak, one of the slaves of Muhammad Ghori, enjoyed his confidence during the Turkish rule, made Delhi as his capital, and started administration in India. The other military generals of Turks who had remained in India accepted Qutbuddin Aibak as their sultan.